So you're leaving law, you're going to go to culinary school, you're going to pursue this dream of yours. What did your family say? What did your wife, what did your friends, how did they react?
Yeah, it was pretty ugly in the beginning, I have to admit. I mean, there was a lot of blank stares. There was a lot of, what about all the money you spent on your law degree? What about, this is a profession. How are you going to go work in a kitchen at your age? You don't have experience, and so of course, anytime you tell people you're going to quit something that you've been doing for so long and try to do something else at 40 something, it's a tough go. It's not something that sells very easily, and thankfully, I think especially my wife, realized that there was passion in there, and so she was the first to come on board and be, supportive of the whole thing. My family, my parents came probably a little bit longer, still in the process, but you know, I think you have to show that you are resolved to do something. And in that resolution, people see that, the seriousness is there, as opposed to, well, I'm going to stop practicing law and I'm going to go, work in a restaurant. Well, I could have said that and just got a job, working hourly and, working a line and done it that way. But instead I said, no, I'm going to go to Johnson Wales and get a culinary degree. I'm going to get the bachelor's in food service management so that I can have some educational background to what it is that this profession requires, because that was important to my parents. Being Indian, it's like education is forefront, right? So if you're going to do something, be educated in it. And so I think when I said that, and then I, did the logistics of it and really figured out like, well, hey, I don't have to spend 4 years to do this. I can do an accelerated program and be done in 2 years. And, I don't have to leave Miami-Dade, which originally I was thinking about doing CIA, and I wanted to go out to their Napa campus and they have a program out there. So those sort of things you start weighing, like, can you do this in your life right now, given where you are with a family and kids and all that sort of thing? It fit in. I made it fit in as comfortably as possible. I gave my parents sort of that like extra comfort level of saying, well, although I'm closing my law practice, I'm not actually no longer a lawyer. I still have my license to practice, and I could walk into a courtroom today and argue a case if I wanted to. I'm fully licensed, and I'll continue to keep that up forever, just so that it's always my safety net, in their minds.
Insurance.
And rightfully so. I mean, listen, you don't spend 200 grand on something and say, I'm going to chuck it out the window, for no good reason, and, but the hardest thing was sort of, telling I would say, my colleagues in the law profession was probably a little bit more of a challenge, because for them, they view the profession and where you're at up here. And everyone sort of thought like, even if I said I'm going to open a restaurant, when you say I'm stopping practicing law and I'm going to culinary school, they're like, what? Literally. And until I started actually cooking food for some of them and they started buying my food, was it that they were actually like, whoa, wait a minute, you should have been doing this all. I mean, you're a good lawyer, but you're a better chef, So some of that is just, it's a process. It's ongoing. Every day I struggle with it every single day. I still did today, this morning, doubt from my family or doubt from my parents, doubt of myself, and I think it's just resolve and faith in what you're doing that really gets you going forward and gets other people on board.
Yeah, and you were committed to this change, this goal. You did it the right way. It's inspirational to people listening that if you have a goal, it's never too late. And you didn't really have the time to go perfect the career in the industry. So jumping right into culinary school is a good move, because you can get like, a crash course and get it pretty quick, so you can get out there and start that dream.
Yeah, I mean, at least if nothing, it gave me some credibility on paper, because I was, 43 at the time, starting culinary school, and I had never worked in a kitchen. I never worked a line before. Most people who are in their 40s in the restaurant field have been working for 20 plus years.
They're getting out.
And they're heading out. They're probably already like an exec chef or maybe the chef de partie or something, and they want to get out. They're looking for the corporate jobs to go cook so that they don't have to, so they can get a 9 to 5. So it was like absolutely opposite
Mhm.
reaction and pathway I kept getting. And, there's a lot of times along the way where I got, basically laughed at or insulted by people I was interviewing with for jobs because they're like, why are you here? Like, what, they were almost themselves insulted or like felt bad about themselves because someone with higher education was trying to get a job from them after they had struggled with whatever, and I could tell you examples of interviews where I spent hours there, only to basically be humiliated and walk out, and be like, okay, fine, that's I just
Explaining why you did this, right? They probably
right,
wanted to know.
here. Okay. Obviously, I want this if I'm here and I'm in a suit in front of you for an interview for a chef position, or front of house position or something, So I think it took a while for people to take me seriously. And so things like Johnson Wales and getting the degrees were very helpful
Mhm.
for that, at least to say, on paper, I have some credibility. Now give me the experience because it shows like, well, I can hold a knife or whatever, and now you can train me on the rest,
Right.
Um, and
So,
so that was that. And I mean, but it's really just it's like it wasn't. It was maybe part of a foot in the door.
mhm,
It was like
right.
my toe in the door, and so it just gave me enough wiggle room to start forcing my way and talking to people more and asking them to give me a chance. And I took the abuse. I'd work a line. I'd work saute on a 300 cover a night type line just so I could get abused by the expediter and know how that feels, and know
Yeah.
what those burns all over your hands feel like, and
Well,
touching.
you're paying your dues, right? You're in there.
I
You're showing.
tried to.
I've got my battle scars. I've done this.
Yeah.
I've been in the trenches.
Listen, and if ideally, I would gladly give more years on that too, because the dues that people pay in this industry are significant in order to get to where they want to, and I'm respectful of that. Like people who are advanced chefs now, they've worked hard to get to where they are, and they've struggled a long way to get there. So I don't want to be the person who comes in as like, yeah, I was a cush attorney for 20, 30 years, and now I'm just going to pop into your kitchen and become the, executive chef or something. It's insulting to the people who have been there and worked hard their whole lives in a field too, So I try not, I tried never to ask, like, don't treat me any differently.
Mhm.
I am who I am. I want to be here. I want to learn. I'm humble. I do stages just to, whatever, because it's like, you got to do those things to pick it up if you don't have those skills already through years
Mhm.
of experience and time.
But there's room for everybody in this industry, and there's a lot of different avenues and ways you can take this career. So it doesn't have to be the traditional. There's a lot of others like you're doing, which we're going to get to.